Hello and welcome to the Final Whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at Sunday's 2-1 defeat against Aberdeen at Easter Road. Coming up, we've got all the post-match chat from James and I, we've got the post-match interviews from Paul Heckingbottom and Stephane Omeonga, but first let's remind ourselves of the goals with Hibs TV's Cliff Pike and Keith Reid.
By Stevenson for Milligan, back again for Fraser Murray, lovely ball through, McNulty's onside, can he finish? He can! Hibs have the lead here at Easter Road, 25 minutes on the clock. What a lovely ball that was by Fraser Murray, and Mark McNulty read the line. The assistant referee was right in line with it, no flag. Mark McNulty one-on-one with Thomas Tierney, buries it. And Hibs have the lead here at Easter Road. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0.
And it was all down to Hibs keeping the ball alive initially. Fraser Murray just clipping the ball through, past Andrew Considine, and certainly onside. Mark McNulty just waited for Thomas Tierney to go to ground and lifted the ball over him into the back of the net. Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0.
Here's a real chance for the Dons. Ball's in the back of the net. Cosgrove, the scorer. Hibs getting themselves in a real mess defensively there, Keith. Marciano got a touch on it, but the ball blasted with such power that he couldn't keep it out. It's won by Lowe from McLennan into the path of Cosgrove. Can Stevie May get the ball under? Here's a chance. Wilson, open goal. Hibs don't defend it well again, and the ball finds its way to James Wilson, who scoops the ball into the back of the net.
Right, James, usually at this stage it's only us and Seagulls, but we've still got the kids and the players on the pitch. There's still some fans here. We're going to talk about the season in a separate podcast. After this today, we're just going to focus on the Aberdeen game. And for 42 minutes, it was really good.
For 42 minutes, it was one of our best performances of the season. And in a very Hibs way, we let Aberdeen back into the game and never really recovered from that. But yeah, I mean, if the opening 40 minutes are anything to go by in terms of next season, all very positive, and we should be very optimistic with what we've got to look forward to.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of weeks, Paul Heckingbottom hasn't really been shy in saying that where he's kind of seeing the things lacking is in the final third, and that was probably as evident as ever again today, because by the time Aberdeen equalised, we should have been at least 2, maybe 3 goals ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of the most frustrating parts of today. I mean, there's been countless games this season where we could have been 2 or 3-0 up by the time that the opposition come and equalise, but I mean that was especially frustrating today. We created more than enough to win in that game comfortably by the time Sam Cosgrove scores. It's really nicely taken goal from Mark McNulty. Mark McNulty has another couple of chances. Fraser Murray has a chance. It's very sort of fine margins like that. You feel if one of them went in, we're probably going to be all right. But couldn't hit the target, and in the end we've paid the price for it.
Yeah, and if sports movies have taught us anything over the years, it's that if we'd given the ball to Marvin Bartley from 30 yards out, we would have equalised, he would have scored, but unfortunately that just never came to fruition.
It didn't. I was absolutely confident when Marv had the ball in his own half that he was going to beat the entire Aberdeen team, but I suppose from his point of view, they've got something to play for. He doesn't want to sort of be too much of a glory hog there, so he's passed it, which is good. Get us further up the pitch, but it's obviously an emotional send-off for Marvin. I mean, the reception, even when he was going out to warm up, was absolutely incredible. I've never seen that before. Great reception when he eventually came on the pitch as well. And after the game, some players gave him a guard of honour on the way down the tunnel. And character that'll be sorely missed around Easter Road and the Hibs Training Centre.
Yeah, I said to you at half-time when we were doing the half-time stuff on Hibs TV that it's not just what he's brought on the pitch that's been a huge benefit to Hibs. He's been part of this real reconnection between fans and players. He's been at the heart of that with social media interaction and just the way he speaks with fans and gets the fans involved, and I think that was kind of summed up by that video that he recorded during the week. That was all from the heart.
Absolutely, and he said it himself, you'll bleed green and white now, and I mean we had so many years of guys coming up here from England and not really knowing anything about the club, and it kind of showing on the pitch. there's a lot of performances, a lot of players that we signed from down south who, obviously just quite happy to sort of come here and pick up a paycheck, and then that was it. For a guy like Marv to reject offers from down south to come up here, he said himself he wasn't convinced about the move at first, but for him to come up here to fully embrace everything that the club means, to the fans, to fully embrace everything the club represents to the city as well, and the way he did was fantastic, and he leaves a legend, and it's not as if he's leaving very far, to be fair. No. He's only going down the road, but yeah, I mean, a great player for Hibs, a great signing for Hibs, a great servant to the club in the 4 years that he's been here.
Yep.
Wish him all the best next season at Livingston, as long as they're not beating us. I'm quite happy with that, but what a guy. I'm sure he'll be back here at some stage in his career.
And I'm sure it wasn't the only farewell we've seen today. Several loans coming to an end and players out of contract. The other one that we do know is leaving us was Mark Milligan today, and I thought the performance he put in up until he was subbed off was kind of summed up how much of a professional he's been in his time at Hibs. You would never have known that was a player's last game today, with the way he was going into the tackles in that first 45 especially.
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself, Mark Milligan's had a lengthy career. He's 33, 34 years old now. He's probably had plenty of times where he's left clubs, so for him I think it is about sort of going about the day job, but I thought he did it really well today. He was marking Graham Shinnie out of the game. I think in the context of the game and the fouls that were given, it's probably quite a harsh yellow card, to be honest. But I mean that sort of really hurt us when he got booked, because we kind of felt that we kind of lost that little bit of steel and a little bit of grit in midfield, just purely because he couldn't afford to be flying into challenges. But in similar sort of vein, Mark's been a great professional all season. I think he's been consistent in what he's done. I think he's been excellent since he's come back from the Asian Cup. I thought he had a very good performance in the first half today, and again another guy that I'm sure all the Hibs fans will wish all the very best for the future and whatever he ends up.
Yep, so let's talk about this one today then. One change from the team that lost at Kilmarnock last week. We haven't done podcasts for the last couple of weeks at Ibrox and Rugby Park. To be fair, there wouldn't have really been much to talk about for both of them anyway, but Rugby Park especially was, I think the manager said himself, to use his own words, it was rubbish.
It was pretty insipid. It was pretty terrible.
It was very much a team that looked as if they had nothing to play for. Again, to use Paul Heckingbottom's words. And today, for the opening 40-45 minutes, you couldn't have said that. Hibs looked like the team that had everything to play for, and Aberdeen were making a lot of mistakes. Yeah,
they were, and we were forcing them into those mistakes as well. I thought the first 10-15 minutes, just our running was excellent. One-touch football, and the players sort of making the runs as well were absolutely fantastic. We were putting Aberdeen under real pressure. They were really sort of toiling to deal with the pace of Daryl Horgan, the sort of physicality of Mark McNulty. Lewis Stevenson and David Gray were flying up from fullback as well. I thought that Fraser Murray, for the first half especially, had an excellent game, and looked every inch a first team player. Kind of reminded me of sort of watching Ryan Porteous towards the back end of last season, thinking, we've got something special here. It's obviously been a long season for Fraser. It's been frustrating. He was out injured for a long time, but I think over the past few games he's definitely shown that he's got the ability to be a first team player for Hibs, and Paul Heckingbottom obviously trusts him. Otherwise he wouldn't be sort of thrusting him into the squad at this stage, but he has, and it's very good for Fraser and very positive for Fraser ahead of next season.
And he just looked so confident from the start. He from far out, from any angle, he wasn't afraid to have a go. And I think the most encouraging thing is that his sort of balls forward were inventive, and we've seen that. I mean, we're all over the place here. We've not gone through any of the chances yet, but that through ball for the goal was incredible, and his effort a couple of minutes after that on his weaker right foot isn't far away either.
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic assist. It's one of those that it actually looks better every time you see it. He's just clipped it over the entire Aberdeen defence, who are complete statuesque, and good finish by Mark McNulty as well. But it's the kind of assist that Fraser Murray, I suspect, will probably be watching back himself a few times, and it's one of those that it's almost like announcing your arrival. He's not quite thrashed the ball in the back of the net. He did come very close to a brilliant goal. But I mean, I think that's enough to sort of make us sort of sit up and notice and say, oh, we've got something really special here.
Yeah, so let's try and get linear. Let's try and get on like a time scale for this match. So yeah, one change. Horgan comes in for Canberry. Canberry was listed on the bench, but I think he took an injury in the warm-up, so Gould replaced him. Early on, Marciano has a save from Lewis Ferguson, and then from there Hibs just start to completely dominate the game. There's nice moves down the right hand side. The ball comes in and Murray's just blocked at the last minute by the defender, but that was kind of the story, other than Sam Cosgrove finding the top corner of the Eden Mill advert.
There's some shot there, to be fair. I mean, you can actually still see the mark that the ball made on the sign.
But that was the story of the first 40 odd minutes of that game, was Hibs playing really nice football. They were, Stevenson and Gray were just bombing down the wings, getting loads of time, but it wasn't as if it was through maybe poor defending. It was through really nice football that was opening up these channels and spaces, and yeah, there was some really encouraging stuff.
Yeah, there was, and already said that Fraser Murray was a big part of that. Darryl Horgan, as always, was a big part of that as well. Every time he was getting on the ball, the Aberdeen defence just didn't really know what to do. There was times he was coming inside, then he'd sort of flick it back outside, and I mean, he was giving Max Lowe and Shea Logan are no slouches by any stretch, and we were giving them real trouble down the wings. Same up front, Mark McNulty has just been very physical with Constantine and McKenna, and we're sort of winning a lot of loose balls off him. It was all looking good. There was some really nice stuff we were playing as well, knocking the ball around and sort of pulling Aberdeen out of position. And I think you can kind of see sort of Paul Heckingbottom's identity, if you want to use that word, sort of start to emerge in this team. There's going to be a lot of quick passing. There's going to be a lot of quick breaks, a lot of one-touch football, which is what we all want to see.
And now we can hear from Paul Heckingbottom speaking after the game.
Paul, frustrating end to the season there. A game I thought we played pretty well in, but maybe didn't get what we deserved out of it.
Yeah, well, we certainly played well. Arguably some of the best football we've played all the time. We were excellent in patches, with the ball, without the ball. We were top draw, but we didn't win because we got punished for the two errors we made, and we couldn't take the chances that we created, because we created a hell of a lot, So yeah, frustrating in that respect, but really pleased with the performance.
I thought for the first 40 minutes we were way by far the better side. We were a goal ahead, we were knocking the ball about well. Aberdeen were finding it difficult to live with us, but as you say, as a coach, it must be really frustrating when we lose goals in the manner that we did.
Yeah, well, listen, you've got to give them credit. They were clinical when they came about, but we always look from our point of view, and yeah, we tried to play along from a free kick and miskicked it when we've been playing short all the time. Goal, and then we didn't lock out properly behind the ball from our own goal kick. So yeah, it's two poor errors, but like I said, for the rest of the game we were the better team, and we could take heart from that. We could take heart from performance, because that's how we want to look. But we have to make sure we recruit goals, and we really emphasise that, and it's not just a number 9, do you know what I mean? It's the fact of chances we're falling to midfielders, wide players, full-backs, set plays. We want everyone chipping in, people in double figures, and let's see if we can get someone to 20 as well.
Yeah, but next season will be a different season altogether. Things will change, players will be leaving. Obviously no Mark Milligan's no longer going to be at the club. Marvin Bartley's on his way. There may be others as well, and you'll want to bring players in yourself that fit your style of play.
Yeah, that play like that, but we want to improve on that. But the minimum is, like I said, we can organise, we can get the team really to understand the roles like that and play like that, but we have to make sure we get the quality and the calmness, if you like, in front of goal. People who are going to be match winners, people who are going to, even if we only create a third of the chances we did today, we should still win the game.
It must be pleasing for you though to see a young player like Fraser Murray come into the side. Performed very well last week at Rugby Park, and for a young lad, what a pass that was to Mark McNulty for the opening goal. He's
got that, he can do that. Lots of energy, a desire to get better, which is really important, and that's what we're looking for in his young players. So Fraser's in the squad next year. We bumped him up. He's part of my squad, and we'll be recruiting around him. We'll not be blocking his place. He'll be part of our group, and then he's got to fight with everyone else to get in the team.
And from your point of view as well, next season you'll have Ryan Porteous and Martin Boyle back. You haven't had the chance to play either of them this season, so they'll almost be like two new players for you.
Yeah, and you know, they've had a chance to watch. We've had lots of conversations with them. I was out on the grass with Boiler the other day doing a lot of his rehab, but more tactical work with him, because it's important that he gets to understand it. He can be thinking about it in the summer. But it's good for them to see that type of performance as well, because now they can look at, right, can I do this? Can I fit into that? What the manager's asking me to do, and I'm sure that they can.
And such as football, players will be coming in. You know, you lose players. We mentioned Mark Milligan and Marvin Bartley as a coach. To lose two players of that calibre, you know, hard players to replace.
Well, I think they're irreplaceable in lots of ways, because, you know, you mentioned footballers, but as blokes, they're superb. We've got Marv, who's an absolute character around the place, but such a positive influence. I've already spoke to him about that, how impressive he's been, because he's not started a game for me. He's been on the bench at most every one. We've been bringing him on like today, but he's still a positive influence around the place, on the training field and around HTC. Millie's been involved in every game for me. Really, really tough to see him go and let him go. One that I didn't enjoy speaking to about it, because he's got lots of attributes, not just as a footballer, but as a person as well. But, you know, I have to be fair. I have to trust myself and my gut. And it would be unfair to have him in if I'm trying to recruit above him or someone who I think to do a different role and not have him involved. So, you know, sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind, if you like. And listen, he's, like I say, what a top bloke he is. He understands. But it was tough for me, and obviously he's very disappointed because he loved the club.
And from your own point of view, enjoyed it so far, but the hard work probably really starts now.
Yeah, hard work starts now, but I'm excited about it. We've had regular chats and meetings about how hard we're going to have to work in the summer. Lots of targets. They'll change. You know, I'm standing here now really confident. Yeah, before you get those players, I'm happy. But I also know we might not get any of them. So we have to be planning for every eventuality, if you like, and keep pushing and working hard. And this is, until that window closes, this is arguably the busiest part of the job.
And then, so just to run through some of the other chances we made in that half, there was McNulty had a toe-poked effort that just went wide from a Horgan cross. McNulty again, a lot of shots that were just straight at, not just from Mark McNulty, but from all the players. We just couldn't get that little bit of accuracy on our shots. And then so there's a huge chance to double the lead. McNulty, the ball comes into the back post. He goes for the knockdown when there's no one there, and it's the goal's gaping. He just head it in, put it across the goalkeeper. I don't know if he thinks he's offside. He turns to the linesman the second that he plays the knockdown, but that was a huge opportunity, and I felt that if we got a second today, we would have went on and got more.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think there is that he must assume that the flag's going to go up, but you're right. You know, it's one of those where I think Czerny gets sort of midway into the 6-yard box and then realises he probably shouldn't have come for it, and you know, if McNulty just sort of heads it over the Czerny is in, you know. But yeah, I think Daryl Horgan's sort of rushing in, but he's too far away. And I mean, that was really the chance. I mean, like I said, you know, if we get that goal, I don't think Aberdeen would have come back into the game. Yeah,
and then when the equaliser comes, we haven't punished Aberdeen for their sloppy defending and mistakes, and then the first sign we do, where we kind of switch off at the back, Cosgrove finishes from close range. It's a preventable goal, but you forget that Aberdeen had to win today. They had to have any chance of getting third, and they've finished above us for a reason, and it's now up to us to kind of cut out these mistakes and ensure that we're taking points at home to teams like Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's just that it's a cross from, I think it's McLennan, that we just can't get clear. It's a decent enough finish from Cosgrove, but it's a frustrating way to lose a goal considering how good we've been up till that point. And you're right, you know, I mean, I think even though Aberdeen had to win today, you know, there were stages in the game where I just don't really think they did enough. But it's more frustrating that we've handed them a goal there, really, to be honest. And I mean, you know, this is Cosgrove who, like we said, hit the Eden Mill sign in the game. You know, you hand an opportunity on the plate, he is going to score it.
You could almost feel the momentum switch. There was only a couple of minutes left of that first half after the equaliser, but it was just from then on, you just felt that Hibs just seemed to lose their way a little bit, and then in the second half started, there's no changes. We have one chance where Malin blazes it well over, but that's 5 or 10 minutes into the second half, and we just never seen that football again in the rest of the game from Hibs. The one-touch stuff kind of disappeared, and whether that's Aberdeen have just made some tweaks and changes to tighten things up, I'm not sure, but it was disappointing maybe the way it petered out.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, Aberdeen, I think at one stage had 4 forwards on the pitch, so they were obviously going for it. I think it was Rangers equalised at Rugby Park at that point, I think, so there was obviously the chance for them to retake third. But yeah, it was disappointing, the way that kind of we just couldn't keep it up, and keep up that sort of tempo and that pressure on Aberdeen for longer in the second half. But I mean, that's something that Robbie Stockdale and Paul Heckingbottom will be working on over the summer, and it's one aspect of our game where if we can keep that tempo up, we can keep that style of football up for the whole game, we are going to start to really hurt teams.
Yeah, and we had 2 big chances before Aberdeen took the lead in that second half. First one, Fraser Murray has a free header from maybe 6 or 7 yards out, maybe just falls to the wrong player in that situation. It doesn't get enough power in the header. It's a big chance, and then Darryl Horgan almost scores a carbon copy of the goal that he scored in his debut against Ross County, where he kind of cuts in from that right hand side, and his effort goes just wide of the post. But not long after that, Aberdeen make the sub. They bring on Stevie May for, I think it's Dominic Ball, so it's they kind of just go for it, and within, I don't know, a minute and a half, we've not had time to adjust to this kind of seemingly 4 up front all out attack thing. And I think it's nice enough play for Aberdeen, but with no one on to cover May bursting forward the way he does, and it leads to a simple finish for Wilson.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a nice break, but it's frustrating from our point of view, because it kind of it's just a loose ball in midfield that Aberdeen pick up, and it's one of those that you kind of think a little bit more steel and determination to get to that ball. The goal was entirely preventable. Again, like I say, nice finish from Wilson. It's actually a really nice ball from Stevie May as well. He gets played in, and I think a lot of players would have put their foot through that, but he gets his head up, he lays it into Wilson, and it's a good finish, but an entirely preventable goal from a Hibs point of view.
Yeah, and I think the full stadium would have been scratching their head at that point, going,
exactly. How
on earth are they winning this game? Like, I can't think, other than a free kick in the first half, I can't think of anything Marciano had to do, really. They didn't have many saves to make at all.
He didn't, and that's one of the most frustrating aspects of losing a game like that. Offier makes a save that he'd probably expect to make from Lewis Ferguson's free kick. It's not like a diving save. He's grabbed it and let it bounce and then got it at the second attempt. But it's one of those where it just goes back to taking your chances. I mean, Aberdeen have 2 or 3 really clear-cut chances in that game. They take 2 of them and they win the game. We have 3 or 4 and we only score 1. It's just the way football works. But it's just adding a little bit more clinicism, which I'm pretty sure is not actually a word. Adding that.
It is now.
It is now. It's a concomitant word. Perfectly cromulent. And it's just adding that final little bit in the final third that's going to be the difference for us next season.
Yeah, and then so we had that nice moment on the hour mark where Marvin Bartley comes on for Mark Milligan. I thought it was especially touching that David Gray went over and put the captain's armband on him. Maybe it's the fact that I was out until 4 o'clock this morning and I'm running on 3 hours sleep, but a nice emotional moment for everyone.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we've already sort of eulogised about Marvin Bartley here, and the one frustrating thing is we just didn't get the opportunity to see him score. I think his last goal was, I hope I get this right now, for Leyton Orient against Northampton Town, 2-0, the Johnson's Paint Trophy on November the 11th, 2014.
Lovely.
1,650 days ago. I'm not going to go into hours and minutes because we'll be here all night, but it would have been nice to see him get a goal. But yeah, really sort of touching moment to see David Gray come over and hand him the armband, and we kind of saw when he was getting his guard of honour going down the tunnel, big hugs for all the players, and as we said, he's a player and a character who'll be sorely missed around Easter Road for the next season.
I still get flashbacks to Dens Park at the start of last season when he was through 1-on-1.
Yeah, that was the moment. There was one that he had a shot against Morton, I think, as well, and we're still in the Championship. It went about 20 yards wide.
He was talking the other day in one of his interviews, and he said that he had a shot against St Mirren in the first game after Neil Lennon left, but I can't remember that. Preoccupied by other stuff at that point, probably.
There was other things going on, but I don't actually think I've ever I still remember having the shot against Morton, but I can't even sort of picture Marvin Bartley shooting. I can't even sort of picture him shaping his body to shoot. So yeah.
There was the game.
Yeah.
Sorry, the game. So not only another couple of moments to discuss. I think there's the closest we get to an equaliser is when David Gray and Mark McNulty both have space, but they kind of get in each other's way. Gray's toe poke effort loses it, but he recovers it quite well and holds on to it, and then Stevenson has an effort that's straight at the goalkeeper. And then final bit of drama of the season, penalty given in stoppage time. I thought it was a penalty. I would have been screaming for it if it was at the other end. Two good things here: a good save from Marciano and some excellent encroachment from Darren McGregor. Like he's in line with Sam Cosgrove when he takes the penalty.
He's almost in the goal.
But that was like crucial to the interception for the follow-up.
It was,
because he reacts brilliantly to get the interception, but he has got like an extra 4 yards on everyone else.
It feels like there was a time where I think Offer Marciano had a really good record from saving penalties, and then he hasn't saved one in a while. I mean, not that it's a criticism. A penalty is a very difficult thing to save. Probably never faced a penalty in goal in my life, so I don't know. But yeah, it was. I thought it was a bit soft, but I think it's a. David Gray just lets him get the wrong side and puts the tackle on Mackay Steven, and Mackay Steven, I don't want to say he's got a reputation, but he's always going to go down if he feels contact. That was actually him screaming there. He's always going to go down if he feels contact, and I mean, it's not a great penalty from Sam Cosgrove as well. I mean, it's got to be said, but fair play Orfeo Marciano, gets his legs to, and as you've said, Darren McGregor straight in there to make the interception, despite the fact he was about 6 yards inside the box when the penalty was taken. I think at that point there was a moment where we thought, let's get out the pitch and score, but I don't think at that stage we really looked like we were going to get anything out of the game. Yeah, so this is usually sort of the stage of the podcast where we kind of focus on the next game. There isn't a next game. There's a screaming child on the pitch that urgently needs attention, so we're going to go and make sure they're okay, and we'll abruptly cut to a post-match interview at this point.
Stephane, a frustrating end to the season there. Probably a game that we deserve to take something from.
Yeah, definitely, because the performance was good. We kept the ball well. We won the battle 1-against-1, but we just couldn't create enough chances to score. That's a shame.
As we found against Aberdeen here earlier on in the season, they are a difficult team to get past. Having gone a goal up, they regrouped and they were still very tight at the back, just very few chances.
Yeah, very few chances, but we just want to focus about the performance and not the result, and to build on that kind of performance, we can build something great for next year. For next year, we want to be above that kind of teams.
From your point of view, obviously you've come here to Easter Road on loan. How have you enjoyed your time at Hibs?
That was just wonderful. I felt things that I never felt in my football career. I want to thank the fan. I want to thank the club, everyone in the staff and the players. And I don't know what my future will be based on, but I just want to say thank you to everybody.
I think from your point of view, you've seen the style of player that you are. You like to get stuck into tackles. We see you playing in Italy, where that's probably not the style of football that they play in Italy.
No, that's definitely not the style of football that I play in Italy. But like I said, Scotland's changed me, and I've come here to build the footballer that I am, and I have a lot of things to learn as well. But I learned a lot of things here, and I'm just happy that I've come here.
I guess as a football player, when you come to different countries and play different styles of football, it gives you a little bit of everything. And if you go back to Italy and that's where your future is, or wherever else it is, you maybe have something a little bit different from some of the other players that are in the league.
Something different, definitely, because that's another style of football, and I just take that like an experience, and as a person and as a player, all experience are good to take.
And from the fans' point of view, they've clearly enjoyed watching you play. You seem to have built up a really good relationship with the Hibs fans, and that's something that you can take with you.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I will never forget. I will never forget, and I'm just disappointed that I couldn't score on at least one to just say thank you to them for the love that they showed me, and the thing that the message and on the social media and stuff. I'm just so glad, and very thank you for the fan. Thank you.
In fairness, you only had 4 months to try and score. Marvin Bartley's been trying for 4 years and he hasn't managed it yet. So
yeah, that's yet I have to do it. I have to take that on my football, and to add the goals and more assists, and it will come. I'm sure it will come. I will work on it.
And it's been good from your point of view as well to establish yourself in the Belgian under-21 side, which is something that you said you wanted to do, and you can push on that side of things as well.
Yeah, the manager of the national team is giving his squad on Tuesday, so I hope I'm going to be on it. So yeah, I've done everything that I could to be on it. So
if I was to ask you for your best memory of your time here at Hibs, short as it was, what would that be?
Definitely the win at Tynecastle against Hearts. Yeah. It was just great. It was wonderful to win a derby. Derby is just a different games, and I saw how the fans they care about this game, and the fact that we won was just wonderful.
Another little memory to take away with you, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Stephane. Whatever the future holds for you, thank you for your time, and all the best in the future from Hibs TV.
Thank you so much. Bye everybody.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. Keep an eye out for the season review podcast. We recorded that yesterday as well, so that'll be coming out soon. If you want to relive any of the moments of the season, subscribe up to Hibs TV. You can watch full match replays and highlights of all the games this season and all the usual old other stuff that I tell you about. But it is worth it, I promise. I don't have a next game to plug, so all I'll say is a massive thanks to James for joining me. A massive thank you as always for listening, and join us next time on The Final Whistle.